What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to a special 1-year anniversary edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I am your good friend and host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone's doing well on a Friday, getting ready for week 0 of the college football season. And yeah, chance for you guys to just kind of relax and unwind from the work week overall for you all. So yeah, we very much appreciate you guys listening in on the show. You know where to find us. We're on many streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It helps us see what we're doing and how we can improve the show for the future for you all. So we very much appreciate you all's support. As always, you know who I'm here with. I am here with my good friend and co-host from day one. He is Chris Bolton. What's going on, Chris? Happy anniversary.
What's going on, Kory?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 1-year anniversary of the show, man.
Man,
How you feeling?
Anniversary. I'm feeling great. It's been a ride. We've been doing our thing. It's been so much fun. Lay down some great groundwork with what we've done the last year, and it's only going to get bigger and better this season. It's going to be a wild season, and these episodes we're going to come with it. I hope the people are ready.
Oh yeah,
they better be ready. They buckle up.
Look, they gotta be ready, man. Look, hey, just for fun, I was on YouTube the other day, and you know, some people, and I know you remember the season that was the 2007 season in college football.
An infamous season. Yeah.
I was looking back at the history of that season, and some people are kind of talking about that this season might have a chance to reminisce that season, you know, show some flashes of just calamity happening.
It wouldn't shock me. I promise you it wouldn't shock me if we had a champion who messes around and lost 2-3 games in the regular season and they end up winning the CFP. I mean, because look, we've been previewing, you know, we've been unveiling our top 25, and when you just look at everything, there's a lot of hopefuls. There's a lot of teams that are in the mix that feel like this could be their year, and there's some really talented teams, but there's questions about everybody too. So there's room for a lot of different scenarios to play out this year.
It is. And you know, that kind of does give you all a hint on today's show on kind of how we're going to, you know, cap off our anniversary episode, you know. So stay tuned.
It's so crazy you bring up that 07 year, because I'm not gonna lie to you, just yesterday I was watching highlights of LSU and Kentucky.
See? And we all know what happened to that game.
Man, that was an insane game, too. I still, to this day, remember where I was watching that game. We were tailgating in Hattiesburg for the USM football game at The Rock. We were at the tailgate, and then, you know, everybody at the tailgates, you got people with the TV set up, the satellite box back then had your direct TV or something hooked up to be able to pick up a signal and watch the games. And that was a thriller. What a time. I will never forget the game.
What a time. I think if I wanna say, I think that was it was kind of like a rainy day. I was at home watching that game, and I just remember just sitting there looking at it. I was like, what is going on?
Like, Kentucky, really? Is Kentucky about to pull this off?
And it did.
Man. Stevie Johnson, shout out to him. Bills legend. He was at that game, playing for Kentucky. I want to say Randall Cobb You remember Randall Cobb, Kory?
Yeah.
He was a high schooler. He was. I met Randall Cobb at the Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he told me this story because I asked him just how impactful was that game to you committing to Kentucky, and he was like, I was on a recruiting visit for that game. Kentucky had him on a recruiting visit for that game when they won, and hey, nothing was the same.
Nothing was the same.
The story tells itself. He ended up going to Kentucky, and Randall Cobb went on to have a great career there, and then in the NFL as well. So that's a fun little nugget. But yeah, that's how impactful that game was. Randall Cobb was there, and ended up. Hey, he said, "I got to be a part of this." Ended up committing to UK.
Awesome. That's amazing. So amazing story to hear about. A legend like Randall Cobb, who in his own right at the University of Kentucky, really made a name for himself. And seeing a game like that, hey, games like that will catapult your program.
On the spot.
I would have had to. I would have had to. I'm like, a word? Hey, coach.
This is how we're getting down here in Lexington. Oh, all right, sign me up.
Hey, coach, I'm committing right now.
Oh man, and I'm sure we're in for plenty more games like that this year. Yeah, and can even maybe have one this weekend, Kory. We'll get to that though.
We're gonna get to that. But yeah, it's great that me and you kind of reminisce back on that year, and I think a lot of people, is not just us, but there's a lot of people out there that love college football that's looking at that year and kind of looking at this year and saying, it's room for that to happen again.
There is. Oh man. I want it too.
I want it. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. Look. I'm gonna put my Mississippi State cap on right now, and I had read a quote from now head coach Jeff Lebby of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and he said, "Hey, if you weren't fans of the 5-7 football team last year, don't come back to our party when we hosting that hardware. All right, look, man, look. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's a little disrespect right now. I feel like, just to me, Chris, I don't know about you, I don't think this is gonna be a long repeat.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but this hire isn't. It gives me Mullen vibes. When he was brought on to State and how he turned the program back up. So we'll see how things work out with Jeff Lebby, but we're gonna put this in the atmosphere. Ole Miss will be 8-3, heading into the Egg Bowl, needing another win to secure a spot in the college football playoff, and Mississippi State will be looking to play spoiler.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
We're going to go ahead and put that in the atmosphere.
Yes. Go ahead. Yeah, just go ahead and just toss that up in the air.
We're going to speak it into existence. Exactly.
Oh, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm excited. I'm just excited.
I'm aboard the Lebby Express too, man. You see, we've seen what he's done over the years. How his offenses are.
Yeah.
They anything like that in Mississippi State. State's in good shape.
Yeah. I think they'll be all right. So got a couple of hard ones. We'll see what happens, but I think the fire in this team, I can feel it. So.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Bulldogs this season.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead, everyone, and get down to some of our topics on our 1-year anniversary episode. We got a lot to talk about, but we hope to not take you all's time for too long, because got week 0 on the horizon. Y'all got football to watch. So yeah. Well, to finish out, Chris, is our top 25 poll that we created. for the Breakdown Sportscast. Like I said in the previous episode, appreciate your patronage in helping out with this poll. You know, it was very well thought out. I co-signed it. So we very much appreciate the outlook, the layout of this poll this year. But yeah, man, we are now on our final 5 teams, the top 5 of the Breakdown Sportscast top 25 poll for the 2024 season. So you ready to get to it?
Yes, sir.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start off with number 5 coming into our poll. And no, behold, we just mentioned them earlier. It's Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels, Chris.
Yes, sir. Coach Kiffin and the Rebs. This is the year they have been building towards, Kory. You know, the program has established itself as a serious, contender and a legitimate SEC football program over the last 4 or 5 years. With their appearances in multiple January, New Year's bowls, and getting some big wins. And they are all in. I mean, they raided the portal this past off season.
Man, you talk about raided, man. Like
I'm talking Al Davis, Oakland Raiders. They raided the portal.
Hey, if the great Mike Leach was still around, man, he would have pretty much said. I know he'll tip his hat. He would definitely call Lane Kiffin an actual pirate at that point. By the way, he invaded that transfer portal. They were all over that thing.
Ole Miss cleaned house, man, and brought in some great players too, and had a lot of guys come back. I mean, they are all in on this season. Jackson Dart has elevated himself to one of the better quarterbacks, one of the top 10, 12 quarterbacks in college football. We've seen his maturation and development since being a freshman, and where he is now. In Lane Kiffin's system, this is year 3. I want to say in Lane Kiffin's system for him. Yeah. So he knows it. He's good to go. And the wide receiver core that Ole Miss has, man, top 3 in the nation. Let's just be real. Ole Miss has a top 3 wide receiving group in the nation. Just impact players left and right all over the field. I don't know how much EA Sports college football you people have been playing, but if you load up the game and you look at the wide receivers that they have, you'll see they all got a star under them. So that tells you all you need to know, man. You got Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, and then Juice Wells.
Yeah.
Transfer from South Carolina, he's over there. I mean, man, it's going to get ugly, and they run that high octane, fast tempo system.
Yeah,
Ole Miss is set up for success, Kory.
No, I agree with you. So many people on this offense that they really have that talent, man. Ulysses Bentley, the 4th is back. Henry Parrish is on this football team. Trey Harris. This is his senior year at wide receiver. Micah Davis, like just so many players, so many receivers on this offense. It's scary. It really is scary. I think that this team is better than the 2014 Ole Miss team.
Oh, for sure. They're sure. They are. And that was a really good team. Some talented players. But honestly, I think man, you got to tip your cap to our guy who's the head coach there, Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
I think he squeezed. He got he basically got the most out of that, the most juice out of that fruit. Like he did what he had to do with that squad. But they didn't have the running back. They needed that running back that year that you could just hand it off to and pound the rock with. And they have that this year. Bentley, everybody's like, oh, Judkins left. Don't worry. Bentley's going to make a name for himself. He is an old school downhill run through you running back. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be just fine.
I think so too. Yeah, I think sky's the limit for this team. They have all of the tools to be successful this season. They just got to put it together. That's all I can really say. And that's coming from a State fan. So
yeah, no, we joke all the time about State's gonna get them and all this, create chaos. But to be real, Ole Miss is that deal. I mean, we had them over Alabama preseason wise.
Yeah.
So that tells you all you need to know, and the defense will be nasty as well. We talked about, raiding the portal and some of the guys that they have there on the defensive side of the ball. Good luck trying to stop Walter Nolan.
Right.
Everybody knows about Walter Nolan. He's 5-star guy coming out of high school. 3 players in the nation.
Yeah.
Well, he done found his way to Ole Miss. So good luck offensive linemen whenever you're matched up with him in front of you, because it's going to be tough.
Right. So yeah, man, we're gonna keep our eyes on Ole Miss this season. But as I said, I think this is the best team that Ole Miss has really garnered since that 2014 team. So they just got to manage the schedule correctly, Chris. So.
And it's a favorable schedule.
It is. And you know how Ole Miss's schedules are. I'm not sure if you had that same feeling, Chris, but they always stack the teams that that they're gonna take care of real quickly, smooth, no issues at the top half of the season, and then the bottom half of the season is just number SEC teams.
Man, it's they slipped in a matchup at Wake Forest this year.
The way that they do this, look, I'm not gonna lie. If you're an Ole Miss rebel that's listening in to this show right now, I commend you on how y'all get these schedules done. I don't know how you do it, but the way that you do it is actually quite funny to me. But it gets the job done. What I know.
They do, and I think we're going to learn a lot about how for real Ole Miss is. Mm-hmm. There's a 3-game stretch that I think is going to be critical for them. And that's when it's the start of October. Yeah. At South Carolina. Mm-hmm. At LSU.
In Columbia.
And it gets rowdy there.
It does.
Then it gets rowdier at Death Valley. And then you welcome Oklahoma to town after a bye week, though. You do get the bye after that stretch. Because that's a serious stretch. Because, even before the South Carolina game, they played Kentucky, who made our top 25. Yeah. So that stretch, that 3 to 4 game stretch, we're going to learn a lot about this Ole Miss team. And if they can come out of that stretch unscathed, or even just with 1 loss, that'll be big for them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So yeah, they gotta get everything in motion correctly during that time of the season. It doesn't get you know how it is in the SEC, Chris. It doesn't get any easier.
It doesn't. And they messed around and got most of their toughest matchups are at home. You get Georgia comes to you.
Right.
Oklahoma, has to come play at your place. Kentucky comes to the crib. Even the Mississippi State game is at the crib. I know State will probably have a down year this year, and many people expect that, but it's still a rivalry game, so it's always good to have that game at home. So
yeah,
you couldn't ask for a better schedule if you're an Ole Miss fan.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, you couldn't map this out any better. So it's just all about execution now. All of the off-season duties that Lane Kiffin had to take care of. All of the workouts, spring workouts that the players had to go through, fall camp. This is what it's all about. We're in season now.
Yes, sir. And it looks like the vibes are there. I know. I'm sure you've seen the videos on social media where they in the team meetings having ISO one-on-one matchups.
It's so Lane Kiffin. Look. Before we go to the next team, I know you know about the whole Nick Saban comment about Lane Kiffin. I just. Oh my God, Lane Kiffin is just the gift that keeps on giving.
Lane is Lane.
Lane is Lane.
That's all I can say. Lane is Lane. he gets the people going, and he's one of the best follows on X in college football.
Yes.
Also.
Yes. His trolling is top notch.
Top notch, elite. You would think he was a Gen Zer. He's mastered the art of trolling on social.
Yeah, he definitely has. So, yeah, like I said, man, they got to put everything together to make a good season. So we're gonna see what happens with them this year. But anything else you want to add to Ole Miss before we move on?
Nah. That's enough Ole Miss glazing. Let's keep it going.
All right. Well, that's Ole Miss at number 5. Coming in at number 4 on the top 25 poll for the Breakdown Sportscast, we have the University of Texas, Chris, the Longhorns, coming in at number 4. What do you think about that?
I like this Texas group, just across the board, talented at all levels. You lose some playmakers on that D-line, but I'm sure the guys will filling in for their roles will be just fine. That defense will continue to be stingy.
Yeah.
You got Quinn Ewers coming back and expecting a great year out of him. Isaiah Bond on the outside to be another playmaker out wide for Texas. You do lose A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy, but like I said, you have Bond coming in and what he brings to the table. He's an explosive playmaker, and we'll see how Quinn plays. And honestly, if Quinn doesn't meet expectations, you got someone behind him that can. I'm sure he's ready for the opportunity to show that he can meet expectations. So you got some good problems out there in Texas.
Omaha. You talking about that guy?
I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Arch.
Oh man, no, you're absolutely right, man. This is a big year. Look, I've listened to a lot of people that I know around the Austin area that follow UT greatly. This is a big year for Quinn Ewers. Let's see what he does. I know the running back injuries definitely hurts this football team tremendously. But when you're in the SEC and you're playing in the best conference that there is, there's no days off. You got to find the next man up, and that's just the thing in college football, just in general. So he has to rally his team behind him more than ever before now, in order to really blow everyone's expectations away. They looked at this team heading into this season as a top 5 team, as a playoff contender, and a lot of people still do. But yeah, it does start with Quinn Ewers. He has to have a heck of a football season. So let's hope that he can get all of the. I mean, you can call them distractions. He's on the cover of the football game. He is. I think he's doing Dr. Pepper commercials now. I noticed. So he's gonna be on those commercials all season. Yeah, you got to get to the bag. You got to get to the bag. So let's hope that all of those things don't distract him to the task at hand, and that's becoming national champions. Before
definitely. And just a quick little added note on Quinn. I want him to succeed, and I feel like I don't know him, but I just from the outside looking in, I feel like I'm sure he's watched that throw in the playoff game over and over, and he will be on a mission this year. Mm-hmm. He's looking to right some wrongs. I'm sure him and everyone who was a part of that Texas team, they feel like they should have won that game against Washington, but they didn't, and that's why you come back. This is why you come back. You try to get it back that next year, and so we're going to see how this team plays, and if they can, if the revenge tour goes accordingly. Yeah,
no, you're right. I feel like he probably definitely has looked at that tape a ton of times over the off season, and really used that as fuel to the fire for him to work on his game and put his team in the best position to be successful. So there's a lot of talent still on this football team. Isaiah Bond is there now, so we'll see what they'll do with all of this talent. But I'm still hopeful for Texas this year in having a really good football season. So it's kind of like Ole Miss. They just got to put everything together, not let any distractions hurt them, and take advantage of the schedule that you have. So
for sure.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about Texas before we move on?
Nope. Ready to keep it rolling.
All right.
Now, team number 3.
Nice. Well, team number 3 on the poll, we have the Oregon Ducks, Chris. And this is a really interesting Oregon Ducks football team. I mean, you got Dylan Gabriel there.
You got some speed demons.
Hey, you are exactly right.
Evan Stewart, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh!
I know if we all watch football. If you listen to this pod, you love football, so you know about Evan Stewart. But the world is about to know about Evan Stewart. He has been mishandled and used and so wrongly in his time at A&M.
Should be a crime.
Oh man, it's a crime how he was used out there. He about to go for about 1,500 receiving yards. Might go for 1,800 receiving yards this year, Kory. It's going to be ugly. Good luck trying to stop him. And then on the other end of the other side of the field, you got to worry about Tez Johnson, who really is just as fast as Evan. Both of them got burners. So Oregon should do what Oregon does. Coach Lanning will have an elite offensive line. Oregon prides themselves on dominating the line of scrimmage. This team will be tough. I know they lost a lot of pieces from last year's team, but they got some guys to fill the void. Oregon will be just fine this year, and it's another sleeper team. Well, I can't say a sleeper team, but everybody's talking about Georgia, Ohio State, Texas winning the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Man, don't be surprised. Please don't be shocked if Oregon messes around and is the one hoisting the trophy when it's all said and done, because this team is like that.
No, you're right. You're right, and it's great that you mentioned that, Chris, because I was watching Greg McElroy on his Always College Football podcast. Shout out to Greg. He does tremendous work with his podcast, and him and who's it? What's called from Fox now? I mean, he used to work at ESPN. Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
I was listening to them both just because they're good friends, and they usually are always around this time. They kind of sit down and have an analysis on what they think the season is going to be. But yeah, they discussed a lot of these Pac-12 teams now being a part of the Big Ten now, and how is that dynamic going to change teams like an Ohio State, like a Michigan, that when you see a lot of those teams in the Big Ten, these guys are much bigger, stronger, and they are fast. And sometimes, all of the above in comparison to a lot of these used to be Pac-12 teams in the conference. They were just pretty much talking about the dynamic of how an Oregon will match with an Ohio State. They may not match with them physically, but when it's time to go into shootouts, how is an Ohio State? How is a Michigan? Penn State? We can go on and on. Wisconsin. How are these teams going to handle that when a lot of these teams, they'll go out in the shootout with you in a minute. Oregon is the poster child at that. How will that dynamic play out now that they're in a conference like that in the Big 12? I think,
Big Ten.
In the Big Ten. My apologies, but I'm excited. I think these are some of the things that interest me a lot with this season, because we've never seen these teams regularly play each other like this before. Now they're all there.
We always will see a matchup in the Rose Bowl, something like that.
Right.
Normally between the Pac-12, or for the longest the Pac-10, and then the Big Ten. Teams are gonna have to adjust, because the Big Ten is not known for speed.
Right.
Not known for prolific offenses. So your Wisconsins and your Minnesotas and your Purdue's, they're going to have to get right when they get on the field with Oregon.
Hey, look, I'm telling you, look, conditioning is going to take on a new meaning once you get to this season, because that's all you're getting with a lot of these teams. These Oregon, USC, they live for those moments. That's out there in the West Coast, they live for recruiting fast, physical wide receivers, tight ends, running backs that are willing to literally take you to that point.
Speed everywhere.
Just speed everywhere. And speed and finesse. That's the name of the game. So when you add that in a Big Ten conference that isn't accustomed to that, I look for that in being a big challenge for teams like Ohio State and Michigan.
For sure. And what makes Oregon special is the fact that they also welcome a battle too at the line of scrimmage. They can finesse you, or they can punch you in the mouth.
They can,
because Dan Lanning teams don't back down. Dan Lanning doesn't back down.
No.
So So his teams won't. So that's what makes this team very special. It will be very interesting to see how things play out this year. But yeah, we both love this Oregon team. They have the pieces to be special.
They do. And hey, that's the reason why they're number 3 on our list. So yeah, and, we're gonna see what's gonna happen with them. But I am excited in seeing what Dylan Gabriel brings to the table for the Oregon Ducks this season. So it's going to be a big season for Oregon. So, anything else you want to add before we move on to our last two?
No, sir.
All right. Heading to number 2 on the top 25 poll, Chris, we have the Georgia Bulldogs. I know there's going to be a couple people that's going to look at this and they're going to be like, why are they not number 1? It's Georgia. Look, we come down. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I like this Georgia team. Let's see what happens with them this season.
They have a squad. They have a squad. Georgia's going to keep a squad. Kirby Smart is always going to keep a squad.
Yeah.
But it's no problem. There's nothing wrong coming in at number 2. They bring back Carson Beck. One of the more reliable quarterbacks. Possibly will be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. We'll see how his season plays out. Experienced guy. You lose some top end talent, but it's Georgia. You got 4 stars and 5 stars waiting to get their opportunity and have their number called on. And Brock Bowers goes, and you still have probably the best tight end room in the nation.
Exactly.
That's just how loaded Georgia is. So Georgia is a great team. You know what you're getting from the defense. The secondary will be on point. If there's anything Kirby Smart teams will have, it's a great to elite secondary. The pass rush will be on point too. Very sound defensive team, and they will pound the football. And man, you're gonna lose the game, and you're gonna lose the battle. You're gonna feel it. When you play Georgia.
Yeah. And you're going to lose your spirit.
It takes a will, too. That's exactly right.
That's just what they do. That's just how they operate over there in Georgia. So, yeah.
Well, you remember that video, the old lady on the porch said, I was going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
That's Georgia. We're going to take the spirit anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. I just remember a clip a couple of years ago, back when Georgia was making their consistent runs and they were trying to three-peat and everything. You remember the clip, Chris, when Kirby Smart pretty much got up on the podium and I forgot who they were playing. I think it was a Mississippi State week where he was like, "You better get ready when them damn dogs come after you." I'm like. Like, man, at that point in time, I was like, yeah, that's when I know. When Kirby Smart comes to the podium with that kind of mentality, get ready for a rough Saturday.
It's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be the longest 3.5 hours you ever had.
I'm telling you, they live for it. Like these Georgia teams now under Kirby Smart definitely remind you of those early Nick Saban teams where they're really there to break your spirit for 4 quarters.
They are, and a lot of games similar to the Alabama teams, they win before they even hit the field. There's an aura that comes with playing at Georgia now, and. It's very intimidating. I can imagine. Whenever you got to go up against the Bulldogs and all the top end talent that they have, great coaching. It's going to take something miraculous to beat them. But
What goes around comes around, Kory. And this year, Georgia is no longer in the SEC East.
No.
This schedule is just SEC.
Yeah.
And it is one of the hardest schedules that you will come across. They don't have it easy this year at all.
Not at all. Let's look at this schedule, shall we? So, first game coming up next week on the 31st. They have a date with the Clemson Tigers. So that's a big game for both teams.
Kirby.
Yeah. And look, man, that's a big game for both teams. Look, only one person can win. Only one can win.
Oh man,
who's gonna take the crown?
Yeah.
And that starts the day off.
Yeah, that's a desperation game in a sense for Clemson too. They need to make a statement.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we'll see what happens with Georgia in that game, and Clemson in that game. But yeah, that this schedule isn't a cakewalk. It may look like that if you're a Georgia fan, but you have to go to Kentucky.
They'll go to Kentucky, a team that we have in the top 20 in our top 25.
Yep.
You go to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Then our boy Hugh Freeze comes to town. Auburn comes to town. You play Mississippi State at home.
Mm-hmm.
You turn around and go to Texas. Oh man!
Look, man. I don't know how you go. I don't know what's gonna happen by that time when you go to Austin. But that's why we play the game.
It's a crazy stretch, Kory. Then the world's largest cocktail party.
Yes.
Florida Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Ole Miss.
Interesting game.
Then Tennessee goes to Georgia, and Tennessee possibly could be a really a great team this year.
Yeah.
Don't let that number 15 ranking fool you. They might be ranked higher than that come time for this game.
Right.
And you close things off with Georgia Tech.
Right.
Who ain't no slouch.
Yeah. They are. So, look, this isn't one of those years where kind of like what you said, Chris, where they're in the SEC East. Everything's easy for them. They don't have to worry about anything. Like you play Vandy this year. You play Vandy every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nah. you gotta go through a couple of heavy hitters.
Yeah. You got some games on this schedule. If Georgia comes out of this thing 10-2, that's a great year.
Yeah. No,
people gonna be like
right.
Georgia 10-2, but dude, if you look at the schedule, you just gotta be real with yourself, man. I think you have to lock them in to lose at least one game. But they could go 11-1. They can go 7-5. Worst case scenario. We're not calling for Georgia to go 7-5, but that's just how difficult the schedule is.
No, you're right. So we'll see what happens with Georgia this year. But yeah, you got a lot of talent that has left. But Carson Beck is still back.
And here, Carson Beck is here.
Yep. Absolutely. So, and you still have Trevor Etienne, which is one of the best running backs in the SEC.
Yeah, so. Yeah. You done got one of them Etienne boys out there. So,
when in doubt,
can't get too happy about that. He done transferred to the Ops.
Oh man, yep. When in doubt, put an EDN out there. He'll take care of business for you.
Man, he can fly. So
exactly.
Georgia's gonna be all good, and despite all the talent Georgia has, Kory, our number one team, I think, has more.
Yes, I agree with you, my friend. So the number one spot on the Breakdown Sportscast top 25 poll of the 2024 season is the Ohio State Buckeyes, Chris. I am very excited about this football team. I want to see what Will Howard does for this team. This is a big year for Ryan Day. I know everybody last year and the last couple of years have been kind of looking at Ryan Day as like, oh man, I don't think he has what it takes to be the football coach of Ohio State. This is a big year for everybody, Chris. This is a make or break year for this football team, and I think they had to take care of the quarterback situation, which they did. And kind of like what we talked about earlier with Ole Miss, it's there for them. They just got to put everything together to be successful. So, what are your thoughts on Ohio State this season?
Man, my thoughts are similar to what Urban Meyer is on record for saying. This might be the most talented Ohio State team. I mean, last 15 years. I mean, from top to bottom, every position group, you have somebody who's probably going to play on Sundays.
Yeah.
Defensive line, Tyleek Williams, he's going to play on Sundays, and he's going to be a first round pick. Next to him on edge, JT Tuimoloau, another dominant player who will play on Sundays. And running back, Quinshon Judkins, transferred to Ohio State. We all know about Quinshon and how talented he is. He's a Sunday guy. You knew that as soon as you saw him as a freshman.
Right.
And then when he gets tired, or they might play on the field together or sometimes. You might get some two halfback sets. Travion Henderson.
Yes.
Who will be playing on Sundays. This team at all levels have nothing but NFL guys. Denzel Burke in the secondary at corner, top tier. Emeka Egbuka.
Yes. Really good receiver.
Really good receiver. He will be playing on Sundays as well, keeping the Ohio State wide receiver U lineage going, following a Marvin Harrison, a Garrett Wilson, a Chris Olave. He's another one who will be playing on Sundays.
Yeah.
Jack Sawyer. I mean, look, man, there's going to be a lot of guys drafted off this Ohio State team. And Ryan Day, for what it's worth, I know he's faced a lot of criticism. This team should get it done for him.
They should.
If the game are to play it on paper, this team should get it done for him.
Nah, I agree. Like this is a very talented Ohio State football team. So and in terms of running backs, I mean, we've always talked about the wide receivers at Ohio State. Like it is wide receiver U there, but the running backs, having both Travion Henderson and having Quinshon Judkins, like,
and that's unfair.
Like, that
ain't right, Kory. That ain't right.
Like, this is an ultimate team going out here on the actual football field.
They playing college ultimate team.
Yeah,
they play. Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what this is. So I'm excited to see what happens with Ohio State this season. Let's take a look at the schedule before we move on. I mean, you got a couple of big games. You have to travel to Oregon, so we'll see what happens with that game in Eugene. It's not easy playing against the Ducks in their field. So when the zoo gets loud, it's tough at times. But this is Ohio State. They got the players to really handle these kinds of situations. So that I think if everything goes according to plan, I think they'll be all right with that game. But we'll see. But I know I'm going to be watching it. I know you are as well. I mean, you always have Michigan at the end of the season. At Northwestern before that in a few weeks. You have at Penn State. So, and we'll see what happens with Penn State. So it's a manageable schedule. You know, you have probably a couple of toss-up games like Penn State and, of course, Oregon, and most definitely against Michigan at the end of the season. But other than that, they should be able to handle this season with no issues.
They should. It's always going to be tough when you're playing in the game against Michigan. And then you also have Oregon on the schedule. So,
right.
You got a couple games that are, it's going to be pretty difficult. Also, Penn State on the schedule, but Ohio State has what it takes to come out of all of those games with a victory. So we just got to see how the things play out. But I like a lot what I see in terms of the talent Ohio State brings to the table this year.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, anything else you want to add about Ohio State? I think we covered just about everything.
I think we're good to go. I think we can keep things rolling.
All right. Well, everyone, that is our top 25 poll for the 2024 season. Overall, I look back at the AP poll, Chris. I have to say we were pretty much spot on with this poll this season to start out. Like, the only teams that I noticed that were on our top 25 poll that isn't on the AP poll is let's see. We have Kentucky, SMU, and Iowa State. So those are the three teams that we had on our poll, but isn't listed on the AP poll for this season. So, and look, I think SMU is going to have a heck of a season. Preston Stone looks to be the head honcho at quarterback over there this season. Last season he had 3,197 yards, 28 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions with a 71.6 QBR. So he knows what he's doing there, and I'm excited about this SMU football team. So,
same. Iowa State has a really good quarterback. This is a team that's been building for this year too.
Yeah, Rocco Beck.
Yeah. And then you look at Kentucky. Look, Barryon Brown he's a Sunday guy. That dude is literally a blur. Like, you can't keep up with him. And if Brock is the guy that a lot of people thought he was coming out of high school for Kentucky, because he just kind of got lost in the sauce playing behind Carson Beck at Georgia. He's someone that can prove himself to be very good and be, continuing to keep that transfer U of quarterbacks that Kentucky has built themselves to be. He can keep things going there, and Deion Walker is somebody who's going to be drafted top 10 in the NFL draft. Defensive lineman that Kentucky has, just an all-around problem for offensive linemen. Hey, they're a sneaky team. They can turn some heads, man. I really think Kentucky can mess around and have a year. Like, everybody looks at the schedule like, oh, okay, Kentucky. All right. Okay.
Look.
I'm not saying it just because I was, covering Kentucky, like just objectively speaking, man, Mark Stoops, year in year out, has a solid team, and there's seasons where they pop up and they mess around and get 8, 9, 10 wins. So hey, this could be one of those years.
Yeah, and they do it effortlessly.
I mean, consistently. Like you can lock them in to be 6-6, 7-5, no matter who is on the team or who's at quarterback. They find a way to have winning seasons, but they actually got some guys this year, like some legit players.
Yeah. So well, watch out for Kentucky this season, folks. And you know, if you're a Kentucky fan, you already know a little bit about your team and heading into this season and kind of what they have to offer. But I wouldn't sleep on the Wildcats at all, just because of what Mark Stoops has done there with that program. They are kind of like those sleeping giants.
They get treated very similarly to how people would look at Mississippi State over the years when Mullen was the head coach.
Yeah.
You know, always outperforming expectations. That's kind of how you can. That's how Kentucky has been for the last decade.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, we'll definitely see what happens this season with the Wildcats. But yeah. Well, all right. Well, now that we've gotten our top 5 teams out of the way, Chris, I know that there's been a lot of this week alone, since we're heading into week 0, we've had a lot of quarterbacks announced as the starting quarterbacks. I know you've been keeping up with that, myself included. I guess out of a lot of these quarterbacks that, you know, either we've known about them, or we're just now hearing about them getting the nod at quarterback this season. What is one quarterback that you are excited to see this season?
You know what my answer is: Dylan Raiola, aka Pat Mahomes Jr.
Patrick Mahomes' doppelganger.
Exactly. I'm ready to see Dylan, man. Highly touted quarterback coming out of high school. You know, Elite 11 prospect at the quarterback position. Georgia fans like myself were sick when he decided to not take his talents to Athens and to go to Nebraska. But look, we're not going to put too much. I'm not going to put too much, expectations on him. But don't be shocked if like Nebraska really makes a leap this year with him as their starting quarterback as a true freshman. He's extremely talented. You know, he's going to make his mistakes, but Nebraska has not had a guy like this on campus in some years, Kory. Like some years. You know what I'm saying? Like, low-key before, like, even prior to us being kids, like, this is some 1990s kind of talent that Nebraska, it's been that long since they really had a guy like that, for real.
Oh, yeah.
So, he is who I'm most excited to see hit the field and getting the nod as a starter, because Nebraska's schedule is favorable. So if he comes out and is that guy from day one, Nebraska can have a season and mess around and be a team trying to flirt with making the CFP.
I agree with you. They have the tools this season to do it. And, I mean, look, it starts with a good dynamic quarterback. Getting Raiola, that's a start. And if you're Matt Rule, you need a dynamic quarterback to take you, to catapult your team to new heights. So Nebraska hasn't, they haven't had a really consistent football team since the early mid 90s. I can't remember exactly.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, I have to go back in the archives just to see.
Man, I'm trying to think of the last time they really had somebody like that at that position. Was that Couch?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, it's definitely been a long time since the Cornhuskers has had a consistent like season where they've won a lot of ball games. Was the last time they had a pretty good record? Looks like it was. It's like 2016. They were 9-4.
Yeah. And even then, it was just kind of one of them out the blue, really good seasons. Nebraska hasn't been Nebraska since the early 2000s,
right?
Truthfully,
yeah. So
since Eric Crouch, Eric Crouch was the QB.
Yeah, it's has been a while. been quiet a while, so we'll see what happens this season with the Cornhuskers. But I'm excited. I'm definitely going to catch a couple of Nebraska games this season. I want to see that game against Nebraska and Colorado last year.
Everybody's going to tune in.
Yeah, I mean we saw
he's going to do numbers.
I know. Last year we saw what happened to him last season. This season, I don't think they're gonna just kind of lay down on Colorado that easily. So,
nah, definitely not. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Kory. We all will be tuned in.
Yes,
literally, like the whole world. All everybody who loves football will be locked in for that game.
Exactly. Well, for me, the quarterback that I want to see this season is Cam Ward. That's a guy that I am interested in seeing this season. He's now in Miami. Yeah. Yeah, he's now in Miami. He was at Washington State the year prior. I want to see what Cam does this season because this is a big year for him. I mean, this is his last season for him to show NFL scouts what he has to offer. So, coming from Washington State, or no, he was what was he before Washington State?
Where was Cam before Washington State?
This is where he was in an incarnate word. He was in an incarnate word in the 2021 and 2022 season. Left there, went to Washington State, and now he's at the U. So
in Miami. This will be an interesting season for him, Kory, because he could maybe put himself on the map in a way similar to Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
If he has one of those years,
He does. He has that opportunity to. So it's that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in seeing him in this system with Mario Cristobal. Miami in general, I think is going to have a heck of a football season. But having him there really, brings this team up a notch, several notches.
Facts. You know how we both feel about Miami this year. We've been licking our chops to see them hit the field ever since Cam announced he was going to the Canes. Mm-hmm. So I'm right there with you.
Exactly. So I'm excited to see what he does this season because, like I said, this is a big year for him. Last year, he threw for well over 3,000 yards, 3,735 yards, 25 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions. He did get hurt late in the season, so those yard counts. I know. He would have been hitting the 4,000s at that point. In the touchdowns, he would have had well over 25. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing what he does this season. Hopefully he stays healthy. That's a big thing as well. And yeah, we'll see where everything goes with Cam Ward this season.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that's mine and your quarterback gurus for the season. You know, our top guys that we want to see at the quarterback position, and there's a lot of other people that we want to see as well. But
It's a narrow down.
Yeah, are some of our favorites. So we'll definitely see what happens. Before we talk about the week 0 slate, Chris, and finish up with our last topic on today's show, real quick. So I know you heard about the Iowa situation going on with Ferentz and the assistant for Iowa, where they pretty much got dinged for a recruiting violation, and this dealing and it deals with Cade McNamara, who transferred to Iowa from Michigan not long ago. So what are your thoughts about this whole situation? Because it kind of hit everybody out of nowhere. You know, people were looking for this to happen. It's like, what did Iowa do this time? What did Kurt Ferentz do this time? I think we just kind of grown numb with Iowa scandals.
We have, and of all, no disrespect to Cade, but man, if I'm gonna get suspended, I got to bring in somebody better than Cade, man. I got to make this worthwhile.
Look, I got to bring in Dylan Raiola. I got to bring in Cam Ward. Yes. Somebody,
Yes. I need to be getting in trouble for somebody like that. Somebody like Nico Iamaleava, like how Tennessee had their situation. It could be something like that. So, nah, man. This is like when you playing the new EA college football, and you done got in trouble for bringing in a dud when you finish scouting, and it ain't that green gem.
Yep.
It's that red one with the X slashing through it. Because word on the street is Cade ain't been looking too hot during this off season,
which is unfortunate, man, because we're talking about Iowa, Chris. We're talking about the team that, they're all about consistency. They're all about assignment.
They are consistent, football. All right.
Well, yeah,
consistently great on defense and ass on offense.
I'm glad you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh man, but no. You're right. You're right. That's unfortunate when like this is a big season in the Big Ten, and your star quarterback isn't up to par of where he needs to be, and you get deemed what it says a level 2 NCAA infraction, it seems this is. So it's I don't know what to say.
Tough, man. It's tough. But yeah, I guess I was desperate. I mean, this is the team. They have not been good on offense in years. I mean, since the 2000s, it's been rough, boy. Rough.
Yeah. I mean, look, when your defense gotta bail you out every game, it's like, man,
the defense has been holding it down too, boy. I'm talking about perennially top 10 defense in the nation, knowing the offense about to go 3 and out. They still out here carrying.
Like, look, man, you gotta enshrine these defenses every season after the work that they've done for this program.
Dog,
I'm talking about retiring jerseys.
You got to do something. They need their own special NIL package for how good the defense has been over the years.
Exactly. No, you're definitely right, Chris. It's unfortunate to see some news like this go down at Iowa, but hey, this is what happens when you're dealing with Kirk Ferris.
Hey, the game is the game, baby. Kirk on Kirk.
Hey, Kirk on Kirk. He gonna try to beat the odds. It's almost he almost reminds you a little bit of a Jim Harbaugh and trying to overcome the odds off of different allegations and things about his team and trying to like catapult those situations and say like, hey, look, we went through this and look where it got us. It got us right back to the Big Ten championship. Now we're gonna lose 45-0 against Michigan or Ohio State. you know how it goes.
You're right. You're exactly right, Kory. So we're gonna see how the season plays out. I mean, this is just a quick little blurb. This is just another reason why Iowa didn't crack our top 25. They made the AP's top 25, but man, I don't care how great your defense is. If your offense is putrid, we can't put you in the top 25. We can't.
Yeah.
Not today's college football.
No,
maybe in 2009. Maybe even 2012. 2024.
Not at all. No can do.
No can do. No can do.
Oh my gosh, man! But yeah, that's I had to mention that, Chris, before we finish up with today's show, and we'll see what happens with Iowa. I think Ferris is suspended the first game of the season, so for that, so we'll see what happens going forward for the Hawkeyes. But yeah, so heading into week 0, Chris, we got I think approximately 4 games. 2 that I'm interested in, and you probably know why. But yeah, we got a little taste of some college football this weekend, Chris. I'm so excited. So excited. We are pretty much a week away from the actual start of the season. Yeah. But this is a little
the unofficial start is here.
Yeah. I agree. We get a little morsel of it. So we got 4 games coming up this Saturday. But the headlining game is a game in Dublin, Ireland, and that's Florida State taking on Georgia Tech, 11 a.m. kickoff game on ESPN. So that's definitely a game that I think everybody's going to be tuning in. I've been watching people all week talk about Florida State and seeing what they're going to do in this game. So how hyped are you about seeing this game this weekend, Chris? Because I know I'm hyped.
I'm extremely hyped. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go.
Are you locked in? Are we locked in? Instead.
Hey, word to K-Dot, boy. Yeah. We will be tuned in. We will be locked in. It's Georgia Tech. Let's talk. You want to talk about Georgia Tech for a second, Kory? Let's put some respect on Georgia Tech. Let's talk about what they have cooking over there. Because this is a team last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were in some close games with some really good teams. This was a team that offensively, before the coaching staff that they have there now came to town, was putrid. In a similar boat with Iowa, with how their offense was.
Yeah, they weren't good.
They wasn't good at all. But they are on the come up. This team will surprise people with how well their offense is.
Mm-hmm.
And if Florida State does not come ready to play football against Georgia Tech can pull a Duke against Clemson and surprise people and win this game.
Yeah, it's very much an opportunity for Georgia Tech. Now headed by Brent Key. He's now their head football coach down there in the Atlanta area. So, I like this Georgia Tech football team. Haynes King, which feels like he's been in college football for 3,000 years now, Chris.
Man,
still down there slanging the rock at Georgia Tech, showing off those skills of his. So, you have a senior veteran quarterback there, and you do have some guys back from last year.
Another Haynes, Jamal Haynes at running back.
Yeah.
Ran for 1,000 yards last season.
Mm-hmm.
50 guy. Can if you get him in space, he can make some shape.
Exactly.
So
Chase Lane, I think I remember him last year at receiver.
Yes, mm-hmm. Chase Lane as well. Look, Eric Singleton Jr. also 700-yard wide receiver. Can possibly pull, go for 1K this year in this offense. Georgia Tech, it's a very solid team, man. Very solid team. Like, Georgia Tech is on the come up. They're on the rise. They have something brewing there, and it's matchups like these where if you are as a program for real about making that next step, you have to win a game like this. Mm-hmm. It might not be them winning this game this season. Maybe it's somebody else later in the year. But the direction that Georgia Tech is on as a program, they will find a way to win a game that they are not favored to win this season. And I repeat, do not be shocked if they make that happen in this game. And it's week 0. You're playing out the country. Florida State has a lot of turnover on their roster also. This isn't last year's Florida State team. There's a lot of turnover on this team. Mm-hmm. DJU, very good quarterback, but has his weaknesses and question marks as well. So the pieces, are there to cook up an upset. Now, will it happen? We'll see. But this ain't just Florida State, they'll walk all over them. I don't know about that. I think this can definitely be a ball game, like a legit 7-point game going into the fourth quarter.
I agree with you. It's the first game of the season too. You know how all first games of the season, teams are trying to kind of feel each other out. They're trying to figure out their own situations with their own teams. In game,
Vegas agrees too. Mm-hmm. You look at the line. I think Florida State 10.5-point favorites.
Yeah. So it's it's not by much. But for Florida State, they probably would take that 10.5 points if they can get the dub. So this is an interesting game. A game that for Florida State they don't need to sleep on, because I think Georgia Tech has a lot to prove this season, and if they can get this game done, that will rattle the ACC tremendously.
Yes, that will shake things up a lot.
In a conference that's already kind of at war with themselves right now. So, I can't wait. I can't wait for Saturday. So it's gonna be an interesting game. Who wins? Give me an early week 0 Bolton's bets.
Baby, our early week 0 Bolton's bet. I will say Florida State will eke this one out.
Okay.
I'll go Florida State 27, Georgia Tech 24. I think it's going to be a close game.
Nice.
I really do. I think it's going to be close and competitive all the way through. But man, I had that itch to say Georgia Tech, but I'm not. I just can't do it. Just can't call it. But I'll say Georgia Tech covers.
Okay.
Like they won't. Well, I say cover. Florida State won't. They won't cover the spread. Georgia Tech will. Take the points with Georgia Tech.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm going to go with Florida State 31, Georgia Tech 24.
Okay.
So, probably late touchdown lead, and head up out of Ireland.
Man, get back to Florida ASAP, boy.
He's like, get up out of here at that point.
Man, we get on the flight now. We ain't even going in the locker room. Because everybody just take your pads off. Look, no showers. I know it's going to be a long flight, but hey, we got to get back home now.
Exactly.
Boy, I don't know how we found a way to get that one. But I think it's going to be one of those kind of games, man. Georgia Tech, they are just licking their chops for this opportunity.
I think so. That's one of the reasons why I literally only have them losing by a touchdown in this game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than even what Vegas is saying right now. I think they are licking their chops. They're really looking to make a name for themselves. Haynes King last year.
Haynes King was good.
Yeah, trying to solidify himself before he leaves, possibly for a chance to be a quarterback somewhere in the NFL if he can. This is a big game. These are big games that you have to win. So I think they're going to rise to the occasion, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
We will. And another big matchup that we'll both be locked into watching. We spoke about them earlier.
Yes.
The SMU Mustang. The Pony Express is back.
Yes.
Taking on Nevada. That'll be a fun game for it.
It is. It is. Right now, Vegas has SMU a 25-point favorite.
Yep. Vegas expects SMU to do what we expect them to do, and that's put up points, and that D line is serious at SMU. So they should give Nevada some problems. I think SMU takes care of business, but I'm just excited to see what they look like. And it's their first season in the ACC as well, so I'm sure they want to put on a great performance and put the conference on blast on what's to come.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And this season, I didn't get a chance to watch him last season, but I am interested in seeing Jalen Knighton at running back this season. They say he is a heck of a runner at the running back position. So
he's from Florida boy.
Oh yeah,
So how that Florida talent is. Oh yeah.
It's look. Me and you are on, opposite ends from the country. I'm kind of, in the, so I guess you can call Texas a little bit of the Midwest, but it's still the South as well. And you're out there in Florida. We're all surrounded by talent. So that's
man. Yeah. We've already talked about it in our own little text messages. How we got to find our way to some of these high school games, man. Because the talent it runs deep.
Exactly.
In both of these states.
Exactly. So seeing talent like a Jalen Knighton, it's very easy for us. We're very fortunate to be in states where they just manufacture great talent in football. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see SMU this season. But yeah, I'm very very excited to see what the Mustangs can do this season in the ACC. So that's a different feel for them now. They're in a new conference. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. And it raises the question. Could kind of segue into our next topic, Kory. Can SMU in their first year, can they win the ACC?
Oh man, can they win the ACC? So I am going to say they can.
Is it likely? No. But there is a chance.
There is a chance.
You're telling me there's a chance?
Yes. There's likely a chance. I'm going to go with likely.
Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm glad that you segue into that. So I like that you put me on the spot on that one, just because I am excited about SMU. And if any SMU fans are out there, I know they're excited as well about their team. But yeah, this is the final segment of the show, where we just got one down. We got about 5 more to go for y'all. Likely or unlikely scenarios this season. For me, I'm going to go likely that SMU wins the ACC. And what we're going to do is we're going to look through all of these scenarios by the end of the season and come back to them, see where everything's stacked up. And we're going to kind of look at the season that was by the end of it all. But yeah, kicking off with that one, Chris, I'm going to go with likely.
Okay. All right. Nice. I like it. I have a couple more for you, and
all right.
I want to see what your thoughts are. So, second one I have for you, Kory.
Okay.
Nico Iamaleava wins the Heisman. Tennessee makes it to the semifinals in the CFP.
I am going to go with likely.
I can see that happening too.
I am going to go with likely. I feel like a lot of people have been talking about Tennessee, but they haven't really been talking about Tennessee. They haven't really been talking about Tennessee. So, yeah, I think it's likely.
I think it can happen too. Like, we saw what Coach Heupel did with Hendon Hooker. This is the best quarterback prospect to come to Tennessee in Heupel's time as the head coach, and honestly to Tennessee in years.
Yeah,
like the last 20 years. Since like a Jimmy Clausen. Someone like him who was highly talented too back then. Right. But system, and we saw how well he played in the bowl game in his first start. Hey man, if everything comes together for this Tennessee team, Nico is leading the charge. So if Tennessee is great, best believe Nico is playing great too.
Yeah.
That's a Heisman dark horse. Don't throw a lot of pennies on it. You ain't gotta put up too much money on it. Just don't sprinkle a few dollars on that one, man. Just
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just sprinkle a few dollars on that. It could pay some dividends, man. Like, I can't stress enough how high we are on Tennessee and what they can be. You saw the elite defense last year. You saw the elite offense the year prior. One of these days, man, both the offense and defense will be elite together, and it could very well be this year.
No, you're right. You're right. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting for Tennessee overall, and I can't wait to see what Nico does. It was either between him or Cam Ward. I chose Cam Ward as one of my guys that I'm interested in seeing, but I am also interested in seeing Nico Iamaleava just because. Man, when you got a name like that, man, you just ooze with star power. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like when everybody was trying to figure out how to say Tua's name.
Yeah, exactly. And you see what that guy's doing right now.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely. And last but not least for you, Kory, my third and final one.
All right.
Nebraska finishes top 4 in the Big Ten.
Top 4 in the Big Ten. Wow. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with likely on that one.
It sounds crazy, but if Dylan Raiola is who we think he is, combine that with the relatively soft schedule that Nebraska has this year. There's questions about Michigan.
Yeah.
There's questions if Penn State really is going to take another step up or not. Oregon's in the conference. USC's in the conference now. Washington's in the conference. Ohio State sits atop, and you expect Ohio State and Oregon to finish 1 and 2 respectively. Not necessarily. Like, it could be in that order. Could be Oregon finishing 1, Ohio State 2. But you have the questions we have about Michigan and Penn State. Wisconsin, solid team, but not nothing to be scared or worried about. Syracuse, a sleeper team, and out in the ACC. Yeah, I think just because Nebraska's schedule isn't that hard. I think Nebraska could finish top 4. It's not out of the range of possibilities.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, let me go back to their schedule right quick. I'm definitely keeping my likely on that one just because of who they have at quarterback now, and knowing that this is a big season for Matt Rule to really improve this Nebraska football team. I mean, yeah. I mean, after you play, I mean, they should take care of UTEP. Colorado is a toss-up game, but let's say if they defeat Colorado, that's a big win for them. Northern Iowa should be a win. At home,
Illinois
against Illinois, they should take care of Illinois. At Purdue, that might be a little bit of a little tussle, but they should be able to squeak out the victory. Rutgers should be able to win that game at Indiana. Yeah,
you could be 7-0 going into a matchup with Ohio State.
Yeah. Think about that.
It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched.
It's not. It really isn't. So they got an opportunity. It like starting on October the 26th. From there all the way to the end of the season, you have Ohio State, UCLA, or at Ohio State, at home against UCLA, at USC, home against Wisconsin, and at Iowa. I mean, look, if they can at least
they go 3-2.
Yeah,
down that stretch.
Yeah, if they can get three three wins out of those last 5 games, that's not bad.
You're in business.
Yeah.
You're in business. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. By that time,
Yeah.
you may not be a top 12 football team, but I'll say you somewhere, from 25 to 15.
Hey, yeah, for sure. You 10-2 in the Big Ten. You might be trying to knock your way into that top that CFP. You might not get in, but you're in the discussion.
Yeah, you spot on. You're spot on, Chris. We'll see what happens with them this season. So, but I'm looking at likely for Nebraska to squeak into that top 5 in the Big Ten this season. So yeah, man. Well, let me go ahead and give you my 3 scenarios, likely or unlikely. So, this is a good one, Chris. So, we were talking about them earlier in the show, but our guy Jeff Lebby, now head coach of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Likely or unlikely that Jeff Lebby can get this Mississippi State football team 6 or more wins this season.
Let me go through the schedule. The odds makers, I want to say, have Mississippi State at 4.5 wins over under. So
yes,
as per usual, Mississippi State being a little underrated. They have an elite schedule. It ain't gonna be easy for Mississippi State. So looking at the schedule, you need to beat EKU. If State wins 6 games, you have to win the Arizona State game. You have to sweep the non-con. Let's look at it. You got to beat EKU, Arizona State, Toledo. That's 3 wins. Florida, by the time they come to Starkville, they might have thrown in a towel by then on the season. Because speaking of tough schedules, Florida has an even tougher schedule than Mississippi State.
I know. I know.
You'll have to win that Florida game. That would put State at 4-0. You go to Texas and Georgia back-to-back weeks. That's tough. We'll just go ahead and chalk those up as 2 losses, respectfully. A&M comes to State. We've seen this Mississippi State team over the years get some wins against A&M teams that were highly ranked and people expected to beat them. So it's not outside the possibility when you're playing at Davis Wade to win that game. So that's a chance. There's a possibility. Coach Pittman might be out the door by the time that he comes to Starkville. We'll see. With Arkansas.
Yeah, at this point now, I can just feel the vibes down there in Fayetteville. They're just like, look, man. I think we got 1 foot out, right?
So, yeah, State has to win, though, the non-con, beat Arkansas, beat Florida, and you're going to need something special to happen. You need to steal one of these games at home against a ranked opponent, whether it's Missouri, whether it's A&M. You need to win one of those games. I will say, just off the strength of schedule, it's unlikely, but not impossible. It can very well happen. Mississippi State notoriously performs better than how people anticipate the team playing. I think State gets 5 wins. If I had to put my money on it, I think they'll get over the 4.5. I think they get 5. That 6th one will be tough. It's gonna be tough, Kory.
So we're looking at unlikely from your end on it.
Yeah, it can happen. I'm not gonna rule it out. I will not rule it out, but I think they get 5.
Okay.
But man, if Jeff Lebby gets 6, boy, we cooking with fish grease if he gets 6 with this team and this schedule.
Extension. Let's extend this guy's contract. Go on now.
Seriously, immediately.
Oh
Give
my
him a
gosh. Let's do it now. But yeah, okay. Well, so I totally get where you're coming from with that. I'm just kind of recording this in our system so we can kind of look back at it in the future.
If they messed around and win, I'm like, Kory, hey, boy, you a fortune teller if they get those 6 wins.
Look, if it happens, I'm a prophet.
It's
man.
a good one though, because there's a chance. And look, like we say, man, Mississippi State, they always find a way to just do better than what we anticipate.
Yeah, and I still think that DNA is still embedded in this program, no matter who the coach is.
That's never going away.
Right.
They will always be doubted. So that's just a part of being a Bulldog.
No, you're absolutely right, man. Yeah, that's just how the way the cookie crumbles in our neck of the woods. So yeah, man. But that's my first one.
Okay. I like it.
All right. So my second one, you're gonna love this one.
Okay.
Likely or unlikely, Chris, that head football coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions, James Franklin, is still the head football coach at the end of the season? I'm gonna go with unlikely.
That is a good one. Don't let them not make the playoffs.
I think that's what. Look, I'm just gonna say this right now, folks. If you're somebody that's listening to the show that's a Penn State fan, if they can't make it, if Penn State cannot make this 12-team playoff, I do not see.
He gone.
I do not see James Franklin being the head football coach next year. I just don't.
If you can't make this playoff, the 12-team playoff, the everybody come along, join in playoff,
the cookout playoff,
yeah, you invited, come on through that playoff. Yeah, he's out of there.
He out of there. I think it's natural to say if he doesn't get it, I think he's done, man.
And it is likely. There's a good possibility that happens when you think about the teams who are established, that we're pretty confident will make the playoff. The teams that we foresee elevating, they got to make the playoff too. Your Tennessees, your Miamis, your Missouris. Penn State could easily find themselves out the mix if you slip up and lose a conference game that you have no business losing. That'll end it for you. I'm with you, Kory. I think that's likely.
Yeah, it's. I just been thinking about it for the last couple weeks now. Honestly, it's like, man, this is out of all of the teams out there. Like, I mean, we can talk about Dabo. He's kind of on that hot seat too. But James Franklin, the boosters at Penn State, they've been waiting for a moment that really helps Penn State, kind of bust through the CFP system, and they've been knocking at the door, but they haven't been invited. They haven't had that seat at the table, Chris. You can't get in a 12-team playoff with James Franklin. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're right. And to go back on to Dabo, see, Dabo can point at in his coach's office to the wall, to that. You know what I'm saying? He can point to that trophy that's right there.
Yeah.
Hey, he got he got a couple of them things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he can point to that. Coach Franklin can't.
No. That's the difference.
Hey, what you want about Dabo? He don't want.
That is the stone cold difference if I ever seen it in my life. So yeah, it's that's definitely a tale of two different coaches. Their history. It speaks
Dabo did it at Clemson.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Have people forgotten? Like, Clemson's been a solid program, but to be a perennial national championship contender at Clemson,
that's
saying something.
Yeah,
man, y'all better not run Dabo up out of there, you know.
Right, like who you gonna get at this point?
Exactly, who you gonna get? Who are you going to get?
So yeah, look, we've seen weirder things happen.
James Franklin.
Yeah, hey, look, man, this man has been at Penn State for a while now. Can't get it done. There's the door. Yeah. that's all. That's all I'm saying. So we'll see what happens. Will he?
We will.
Prove all of the doubters wrong, because this isn't just like me saying this, and this isn't just you saying this. This is people all around State College, that surround the program, that have been talking about. They've been looking at James Franklin's record, and yeah, you've been. It's time
to show up.
Yeah, it's time to show up. Like, yeah, you've been making bowl games, but have you been making the bowl games that really matter?
And have you won the game that we didn't think you could win? Right. Like, that is the part of elevation. You have to pull off the upset.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really think you amongst the big boys, then you got to show why. You got to show that you are.
Yep.
Anytime you got on the field against Michigan and Ohio State, you have been thoroughly embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
They did not have a chance in hell against Michigan last year.
I know.
As much as we wanted that to be a good game, they just could not compete.
Mm-hmm.
And you do so. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. We are going to find out. So, yeah, man. So, that's that one. I got one more for you.
All right.
As we get ready to wrap up today's show, our anniversary show.
Yes.
So, we now have Texas and Texas A&M, Chris, colliding against one another once again. We have our great Lone Star State rivalry back. Likely or unlikely, Texas A&M returns the favor after what? How many years now? A little bit over a decade of us not having this rivalry game. A&M returns the favor, beats the Texas Longhorns in the first game back in this rivalry. Likely or unlikely on that one.
You know what? Not a bad question, Kory.
Mm-hmm.
A great question. Likely or unlikely? Man, that's tough. Because part of me wants to say, nah. But the other part of me is like, do you really want to write that off? It's a rivalry game.
It's a rivalry game. I think we all know how, the Texas A&M faithful is being with just seeing Texas getting into the SEC, taking their shine away from them. They're looking to return the favor.
That's a tough man.
Yeah.
I have to go likely. Look,
I'm going likely to.
When you look at this team, the Aggies team, we have them ranked 15th in the nation based off of the talent they return and that man who's their head coach, Coach Elko.
Yeah,
he's legit. He can come in first season and put together a great season. Crazier things have happened. Ain't no telling how many running backs might be left for Texas by that time. By that point in the season.
Shoot, I think you're going to need running backs like CJ Baxter in this game. Oh, my gosh.
That's the great one. I think Texas A&M can very well win that game. I would love to see what the point spread, what Vegas thinks about that game when it's time for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's too early to tell you right now.
Right now, A&M is favored to beat Notre Dame.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't seen that betting odds last couple of days. So yeah, that's interesting.
Let me get the odds for you for that one, the betting line. Let me see. Notre Dame. All right. So Texas A&M 1.5 point favorite. They opened as 1.5 point favorites or 2.5 point favorites.
Okay. Yeah, that's
a lot to put on A&M.
All right.
So, yeah. If A&M is the team that we think they are, and they're at home against Texas, hey, all bets are off.
I agree with you.
I like that. I hadn't thought about that until you proposed it. Yeah.
Look, I had some other ones in mind that we could have definitely discussed, but I think that this one was an outside looking in kind of situation, like out of the box scenario.
Yeah. Out of the box, but yet very real in its possibility of happening.
Yeah. Big rivalry.
That's gonna be a crazy game to watch, boy. That you might need to find your way out there to the College Station. I don't know how far Austin is from College Station, but hey,
it's about 2.5 hours.
You and your brother might need to go ahead and hop in the car.
Might gotta do that. I mean, we might gotta take that chance and watch that game. I think that's gonna be an interesting one.
It's been a decade long brewing. People gonna be acting up. That energy's gonna be crazy.
I just want to show up in my Mississippi State sweater. Hopefully it's cold at that point in time. They're gonna look at me they're gonna think I'm a Texas A&M guy, but I got Mississippi State. Why are you here? I was look, I just want to see someone's demise.
I don't want no smoke. I just want to enjoy the scenery. I'm just here for a good time.
Look,
I ain't got no dog in the fight.
I ain't got no dog in the fight.
I'm cool with y'all. I just want to watch the game.
Oh man, that would be amazing. That would just be absolutely amazing. But I think it's likely for me that A&M can get it done. This is Elko's first season. He prides himself on having really good defenses, and it's not like everybody left on that defense. You don't have Walter Nolan anymore. That kind of sucks, but I think we're going to see that Coach Elko can get the most out of his defense. So,
he will. You're right. We saw how he had them Duke teams. Now imagine him with these A&M boys.
Exactly. So I am definitely excited about. So yeah, man.
I agree. Before we wrap things up, Kory, I do want to say, man, thank you for proposing
us doing this pod together, and it's been so much fun. And I wanted to give you your flowers. You know what I'm saying? While we're recording right here on air, so I appreciate you, brother. It's been great, and we're gonna keep this thing rolling another year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. I appreciate everything that you do as well, my friend. This is a great road, great journey that we're on, and we're just getting started. So, and we're happy for the fans, for you guys as well, and listening to us. Y'all really bring joy, through this podcast for us to keep bringing you guys great content. So we very much appreciate you all listening in, and we're just getting started. 1 year in, many more
to go.
Many more to go. Many more to go.
Yeah, many more to come.
Yes,
for
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, we appreciate y'all listening in on our 1 year anniversary episode. I know that was a jam-packed episode, but we're always happy to bring you this great content in a great world known as college football for you guys. So
oh yes.
So,
yes. Man, we finally can scratch that itch. It's here.
It is here.
Kory.
It is here. This Saturday, week 0, we got a couple games, of course. SMU is playing. We got Hawaii getting out
Hawaii
there
at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes, Delaware State's coming to Hawaii.
for all you football degenerates, including myself, you can tune in and watch that game at midnight.
Exactly. Yes, and as well as Montana State at New Mexico. So we got football all around the country, no matter where you're at. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy some college football. But yeah, man. Chris, before we head out of here, just let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
I'll let your boy on X at Chris_Bolton_12. And then also on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Holla at me. Talking sports, talking college football, talking NFL football, talking fantasy football, talking EA college football. We almost done with year 1 in the league, Kory, with me and some of my buds. We almost done with the first year. So as we wrap this thing up, we can go ahead and we can be able to maybe slide you on in. You know what I'm saying? We need some more users.
Yes.
So we can get you hooked up with them Bulldogs with Mississippi State one time.
Nice. Nice. I will definitely link back up with you sometime next week about that, because I am getting very much excited about playing Dynasty mode with you and the crew, of course. I've been playing on my Xbox, and I look to move over, play some on my PlayStation as well. So that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. Your boy got the Baylor Bears. We trying to make something shake. We 9-2 so far this year.
Yeah, look, man. You got to make do with what you have, man. And when you're at Baylor, that's how it is sometimes.
Hey, but look, I'm telling you, what Prime say? He bringing his Louis.
He bringing the Louis.
I got the Louis on the way. We raised the state of Texas. I got the Louis on the way.
Nice. I love it. Oh man, but yeah, we're definitely gonna link up very soon throughout the end of this month and in the next week. So yes sir. Well, be sure to follow Chris on social media. He's definitely there. Talking baseball, college football is here. So be sure to get at him on the socials. For me, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football. We're here at the beginning of the season, so catch me on there. I'm probably also going to be interacting with a little bit of baseball as we're winding down and about to head into the playoffs in a couple of weeks. So be sure to follow me on there. But we appreciate y'all listening in on our 1 year anniversary episode. And as always, guys, just keep it locked here on the Breakdown Sportscast. But until next time, we will catch y'all later. Peace.
Oh.